Now, this story goes to show about how you can have one of the most successful games of all time in one year, and then the very next year have one of the most difficult years ever, to the point where you're like, do we even continue making games? Because Warner Brother Games is having a really difficult time right now. Because in 2023, Hogwarts Legacy released under Warner Brothers Games, and it was one of the most successful games of all time, reaching over $2 billion in sales. But having such massive flops like Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League release, which we recently got the information that it is going to be shutting down with the most recent season updates, so had one full year of development and then they're calling it quits, which this was a massive loss for Warner Brothers Games. Then you had Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, which definitely was not received very well. And with the recent news of Multiverses shutting down, which has been reported to lose over $100 million for them, it's been a rough year, and those tough times are looking to continue. As the Wonder Woman game is still years away from release, and Warner Brothers Gaming Division struggles. Like, struggled so much that even the president of Warner Brothers Games recently stepped down after 12 years as the boss. That's how bad it's been for Warner Brothers. So bad, in fact, that it was actually reported here on Bloomberg, being Jason Schreier, a really credible source of insider information, that Warner Brothers Games has a rough year of like $300 million lost thanks to these major titles flopping this hard. So Warner Brothers really needs this Wonder Woman game to really pan out and actually play as it's intended, especially from a studio like Monolith, which has such unique potential with their games, which we'll get into a little bit later in this video, like the tragedy behind some of the systems that Monolith has made that has just been tied to specifically their game development, which has to been, well, canned for the Wonder Woman game just to get it out. And keep in mind, this trailer was released at the Game Awards back in December 9th, 2021, so it's been having some issues with development. So much so that the studio has apparently rebooted the title itself, which has reportedly cost over $100 million in development costs already, which is just like, at this point, if you're going to restart development, which sounds like about a year ago was when it actually happened, it'd be very difficult for a single player game to recoup its costs. And I could quote the article saying that one of the company's biggest bets in development, a video game based on Wonder Woman, has struggled. According to people familiar with the project, early last year, it was rebooted and switched directors. The game has reportedly already cost $100 million and is still years away from the release, if it ever makes it to market. According to interviews with 24 current and former Warner Brothers employees, the lack of a strong, cohesive vision during Hadass's resign, a tumultuous period in which Warner Brothers struggled through multiple reorganizations, led to years of ineffectual trend chasing and wasted development time. Along the way, once revered studio under Warner Brothers umbrella have taken reputational hits, lost key staff members, and burned through hundreds of millions in dollars. Clearly referring to Rocksteady and Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on that one. But this is Monolith Studio, right? Like a really reputable brand that actually last game they made was really cool. It was called Shadow of Mordor, which had this really interesting system called the Nemesis system. Effectively, what you did in the game was try to work your way up to take out the kingpin of the orcs, and which you did, you won the game. But the way that was happening was dynamic about how you interacted with these boss characters, and if you beat them, defeat them, and how you beat them depended on how the story would unfold and how you would come across these different types of orcs, basically making it so then like everybody's playthrough would be unique and different, and it was like player-driven storytelling through this Nemesis system, which was such a unique aspect. But the sad thing is that Warner Brothers was like, this is a really cool system, so we're gonna patent it so no one else can take advantage of it, which is such a tragedy because it's such a unique system, and it's the reason why you probably haven't heard a lot of it since since Shadow of Mordor, because this was the last game that Monolith made back in 2017, Shadow of War, and also Shadow of Mordor as well back in 2014. But you kind of refer to both games, which a lot of times referred to as just Mordor because it's just easy to remember that way. So you might think, okay, well, it'd be worth the wait, right? Because Monolith has this really cool system that they'll implement with this Wonder Woman game with this really cool IP. We never really had a game like this before, so it'd be a really interesting thing. Well, nay, said the insider, because in Schreier's report right here, saying that the game attempted to reimagine the Nemesis system from the Mordor games, allowing Wonder Woman to befriend her enemies and have different dynamic storytelling, saying this idea was eventually scrapped in favor of a more traditional action adventure game, and the future of the project might be in jeopardy. So it's like if Monolith is making this game but not even able to use their patented system by Warner Brothers, then like kind of what's the point if you're just gonna make another like action adventure game, but this time with Wonder Woman? It just doesn't really sound that exciting, right? Which Wonder Woman 2017, fantastic movie, loved it. And then Wonder Woman 1984 was very much not very well received by most people out there. And that movie came out in 2020, so we have many years to wait until the game actually releases, but with no new title or movie coming out anytime soon. Because as of May 2024, Wonder Woman 3 has not been moved forward, as there's been a lot of issues when it comes to the development, creative leads leaving and James Gunn stepping in to take over, and then announced that Gal Gadot would actually not be returning as Wonder Woman. So they're still planning to make this third movie for Wonder Woman, but there is no time frame when this actually will happen. So you kind of need to like make this type of game, right? An action-based game like Wonder Woman around the time of the movies to kind of ride off of that hype a little bit. Like obviously Indiana Jones is a little bit of an exception right there, but I think it's more just because fans have been so detached from the movies in the recent decades, right? That like this is the first actual piece of Indiana Jones media that really feels like Indiana Jones, which by the way, Indiana Jones, fantastic game. Y'all need to play if you have a chance. But with the game years away in development, reportedly, and having its own issues, like I'm sure Warner Brothers is probably thinking, like, is it even going to be worth it to just even make this game? Like, can we even have a chance to recoup our costs since we're so deep into the development of this? And can we get out in time for when the next movie does release, whenever that happens, which is going to be years away from now as well. Especially if they recast Wonder Woman, and if that movie is not very well received on top of that, then it's like, why are we spending these hundreds of $millions to make a game around a movie that people are not really that interested in anymore because it had one good movie back in 2017. So with the issues of development with the game, issues with development with the movie, and a new head behind Warner Brothers games, I'm sure they're probably wondering, like, do we even need to continue with this, or do we just hit the L on this one and then just move forward with something different? Ultimately, the biggest tragedy behind this entire situation are for the gamers, right? Because we're talking about mainly the Nemesis system that's tied and patented behind Warner Bros. That needs to be in a Warner Brothers game made by Monolith for this actually to work out, which if Monolith is still going to be spending years and years trying to make this Wonder Woman game happen, and then whenever the next project comes out, which may even have the Nemesis system, that's still years and maybe even 10 years away from now. So it's going to be a full maybe 20 years from the time between the last time we had a Nemesis system game. This is why I'm kind of more of an advocate for saying for game systems that get created that maybe not share exact code between different companies, but then just let them have the chance to make something similar, like play around with that idea, right? Imagine if like Titanfall patented the wall running technology, so if a game had wall running in it, then Titanfall and EA can take a scrap of your money from that system. Like that just wouldn't, it'd be so detrimental to the entire gaming ecosystem as a whole. And you can see that it's been having its effect, right? Because the Nemesis system was such a cool thing with the Mordor games, it really made it stand out because the gameplay itself, because the Mordor gameplay itself wasn't really anything like that crazy or unique, right? A lot of comparisons made to Assassin's Creed when it comes to like how the enemies interact with each other and also like the traversal within the world. But what made the game unique and really stand out amongst the crowd was the Nemesis system, and we've only ever had it in this Mordor franchise, which is just a shame, man, because I want to experience this with other games, right? Like imagine if Halo Infinite had a very similar thing, right? Where like an elite can become like the kingpin of Zeta Halo, or if any kind, just think about it with any other kind of game out there. It would be such a unique system that really make a player's unique experience be, to just them, right? It is a system that's completely dynamic in how the player interacts with the world. It's such a unique system, and to have it just tied behind Mordor only, or since they were just behind Monolith and Warner Brothers, really holds back the gaming industry. But hopefully some things will come out to where like maybe they can license it out or something. You never know, especially with Warner Brothers when it comes to being a little more desperate financially, that they could actually maybe run into situations where allowing other game companies to utilize this system would be very beneficial. But of course then it's all up to just greedy executives to be like, yeah, sure, you can have fun with our list system, but give us that sweet little cash. Now, with the reputation of Warner Brothers this year of 2024, how quickly things have changed and how the turns have tabled, that goes from 2023 having one of the most successful games of all time with Hogwarts Legacy to 2024 completely destroying your brand reputation and losing hundreds of millions of dollars with flop after flop. Could this Wonder Woman game be something interesting and fun and exciting? Maybe it would just depend on how they actually make it work out, right? If they're able to truly capture the nostalgia and the feel of what it is to be Wonder Woman, like very much how the studio did when it came to capturing Indiana Jones. But the thing is that Indiana Jones is a franchise long running, right? Multiple decades of people crave for more Indiana Jones. I don't know how many people out there have been craving for a new Wonder Woman game or even a new movie at this point. So again, like the entire project is up in air. Like I wouldn't be shocked if they shut it down, but you know, once they do, I'll let you guys know here on the channel. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to leave a green heart. Let me know who the real ones are that made it to the end of this video. Thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate it. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.